Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cheer Make a Turn. We are back once again with another episode for y'all, and we have a returning guest with us today. As you know, Steven has been here on every episode. However, there's been one episode where we've had one special guest come in, and he is returning. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jowan. You can't see him on the screen, but he's here.
I'm here. I don't have a camera on the computer.
We decided to cut his image out of the podcast because he needs to know how. Actually, I'm not gonna finish that joke because I don't want to say mean things.
Wow.
Jowan is very special, and he adds a lot to this podcast, and we are very happy to have him on here.
Wow.
I would also like to mention that my side of the podcast is not brought to you by HyperX because I am not in the streaming room today, as you may have noticed.
And I would also like to take this moment to acknowledge the fact that I am in a hotel room. Yeah. And we're going to talk about that very soon.
Since the last podcast, me and Will went to Tennessee on 2 different occasions.
Well, okay, no, here's the thing. I'm just in Tennessee for a football game because my college, Jacksonville State University, they have an away game for Middle Tennessee, something like that. And by the time this episode comes out, that game will already be finished. So you can look up how that game goes. As for me, I don't know what's going to happen.
I bet Jacksonville State's going to lose.
And be ready to see a vlog of Will during the game, showing you how he does his job.
I don't know about that now.
They might not let him. They might not let him be recording while he's supposed to be recording.
Yeah. I can't exactly multitask. And also, yeah. That's besides the point. Anyways, well, I say besides the point, but that kind of leads into what I'm going to talk about first. Yeah. So right now it's October, and my
spooky season,
football. Yeah, spooky season. We're getting spooky.
Yeah.
And my football schedule throughout the entire month of October consists of football games taking place in the middle of the week. And when it comes to away games, that means I gotta miss a whole bunch of classes.
That's because Jacksonville State is one of those football teams that nobody cares about, so they don't get the luxury of being able to play on Saturday. That's why I like to joke about Jacksonville State football team being, because I mean they are a pretty small school. They're not exactly a power team like a.
Go to Auburn. You have to run into our faces.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being honest, Auburn is not that much better.
No.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
Just a football team. The college is fine.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. And for this episode, I'm gonna interview Will.
All right, we're having an interviewing segment with our guests. We're kind of switching sides.
I'm just a spectator.
Right now, I'm the guest, and Jowan is the host. By the way, his name is Jowan. I don't know if I've ever said that yet.
You said it at the beginning. You said everybody give it up for.
Yeah, sorry, I got dementia.
It's too early for you.
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
So let's start something simple as, how is the hotel?
No.
Just no.
All right, and thank you everybody for attending this interview. That'll be all from Jowan, and now we're going to be continuing the podcast.
But now, how's the hotel? Hotel's nice.
It's nice.
It's
comfy
nice.
Beds. You don't have a
Comfy
roommate,
beds.
I noticed.
Well, it's a hotel. You can't really have a roommate in a hotel.
Well, no. I do have a roommate. He's just not here right now. He's somewhere else. He might come in later, by the way. So that's another thing.
We're gonna have 2 special guests on the podcast.
One of them is just gonna be laying like right there.
Shout out to I think it was like episode 3 or something like that, where Will's roommate at his college dorm walked in on the episode and joined.
I don't think it was episode 3. It was more like episode 10 or something.
I forgot which episode it was. I probably could find it.
It was definitely not that early. But yeah.
I'm not gonna bother looking it up though because it screws up the recording.
Okay.
All right, we'll go to the second question of this interview. What is your job during this time?
Okay, so for the Jacksonville State football team, I'm part of the video team where they film the games and they get the footage ready for coaches to like show the players, and they go over the footage to like see their plays and like try to pinpoint like what they can do to like be better at the game of football. That's
So
basically what we do.
basically in video games, what we would call VOD reviews. Basically watching that's what they're called. No, that's genuinely what they're called. It's basically like watching over a past recording of yourself playing a game to because think about it this way. There's an interesting philosophical reason to why people do this is because when you're actually playing a game, you're like in the heat of the moment and you're kind of doing things, you're not really thinking as heavily because you got to do things quickly. And so you don't necessarily really think about things. If you go back after the fact and rewatch and see what you did when you're not under pressure of actually playing a game, and you get to you look back at what you did and you look at whether it was a good thing or whether it was a bad thing or how it affected something or how it could have how a different action taken at that point could have resulted in a different outcome. Basically, it's using that information to think about ways that you can improve your gameplay. And it's used in video games a lot, but obviously, as Will said, it's also used in sports like football.
All right, Will.
Good. Very good. And as for my position is a little weird because I'm still kind of like the new guy, quote unquote.
Even though you're a sophomore.
I haven't been there as long. Everyone else is juniors and seniors. So I'm not at the level yet where I'm filming the games just yet, but hopefully it won't be too long until I'm start filming the games and cutting up film and all that. Right now I'm just sort of I just gotta level up. I gotta level up basically.
Right now you're just the water boy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Wow.
He is the water boy of film.
To an extent, kinda, yeah. But more I just kind of run cards back and forth. After a quarter is done, the filmer will be done with filming.
No, this reminds me.
So they'll take an SD card out. I'll take it. And I'll take it to the people who are cutting up film.
That reminds me. That reminds me of one episode. I forgot which episode it was, but you were talking about how in some places the way you do the SD card is they put it in a tennis ball and then drop it off of something.
Yeah. That's one way that we if we're up on a high place. Let's say we're on a scissor lift and we're up in the air. We have to get that SD card down to the ground some way. But yeah.
And all right, to the third question. What made you pursue this career of filming sports?
The same reason that we're doing a podcast. Yeah, Joan's about to offer you a job at I don't know. Insert meme company name.
Are you offering a job at ESPN or something?
Yeah,
yes.
I would love that.
What made you to want to pursue this career? When did it happen? Since when you were just born?
I can't. My first words were recording.
Recording. He's been recording mentally ever since the moment he came out.
My last words when I'm on my deathbed and I'm 80, I'm just gonna be Recording
And
stopped.
cut.
And cut. And cut.
His last words is going to be and cut. No. By that logic, his first word should have been action.
No. In filmmaking, and I have experience of this, you better know. When you are about to record,
I have experience.
the
You better
director
listen to
will-
me.
When you record a shot, the director will call out camera roll, and then you're gonna hit the record button. And you yell rolling. So my first words would be rolling. But yeah, as for what got me into this, the best answer I can give is in middle school I played football for like 2 years, but I wasn't very good at it. Like, I
Which
wasn't
is
very
surprising,
athletic.
given the fact that he's built like a tank.
Yeah,
No-
but the thing
no
is, I
offense.
wasn't very athletic. Like, if I was athletic and I actually got in shape, then that would have been a different story.
You could probably make like a good offensive line or something.
I was an offensive line, but the thing is, I had no spatial awareness. I ran out of breath easily because
I mean, that's fair.
while I am big, I am also like overweight, and like I get out of breath easily.
That's fair.
So after that, I still liked the football program, and I wanted to stay with it. So after that, I know Joanne made a joke about this earlier, but I did legitimately become a water boy
Yeah.
a little bit.
I would see him outside while I was in band, just filming with a drone.
No,
Just
we'll get to that.
simple
We'll
as
get to
job,
that. Hold on.
man.
We'll get to that. Hold on.
And wait, now we're going to. It's the same question. It's the same progress. It's just you started in middle school and how to evolve from that.
Well, for middle school, like I think 8th grade is when I started being like a water boy for high school, and then 9th grade, that's when I started to like actually film because I was offered like a position to like film. First, it was like at sideline, like filming with like an iPad or something,
Oh, that's
And then-
terrible.
and then now get this: in 10th grade, during practices, I would like go out onto the field. I would have like a long pole with a GoPro at the top, and I would use that to film like on the field.
I can tell you how poor school was.
Yeah,
And then after that,
guess who
I
doesn't
went
have that problem? Auburn.
wow,
That's
we're
a
talking about high
college.
school here. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I guarantee Jacksonville State doesn't have the same kind of budget as Auburn does.
and well, I mean, you said earlier about how like we're not big enough to have games on Saturday.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying you can't say that Auburn isn't better.
Wow, just wow. I lost my train of thought. Okay, and then 11th and 12th grade, that's when I started flying the drone
Uh,
to like film games and film practices.
and how much were you getting paid by the hour doing that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Free labor.
It
Yeah.
was literally free labor.
In the end, it really was free labor.
It still
Well,
happens now.
Do you,
But I got-
Will?
but I got-
Does this make you feel taken advantage of?
Well, I got experience out of it, and I got like, and one of the football coaches that I was working with, he got me my job here in Jacksonville, where half of my tuition was paid for in scholarship this year. So no, I don't feel taken advantage of because they led to some good things. Of course, if I didn't pursue it, then probably yeah, but like still worked out in the end. So I mean, can't exactly say it was a bad choice.
Interesting.
Alright.
Interesting.
Now, for the last question, it'll get a bit more personal.
How personal are you getting?
Dude, you don't have to get that personal to get the State Farm personal plan.
All right, go ahead, Joanne.
And it's not about the camera. It's about your list. And
I want to be completely honest. I'm not even trying to make a joke here. I'm being completely 100% honest. I actually have not even noticed a Will having a lisp.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning of how's this journey gone?
I'm gonna answer it very briefly because I'm not gonna get too much into it. But basically, I do to some extent have a speech impairment. It's a lot better now than it used to be when I was younger, but
It's a lot better now.
I still have issues with it occasionally.
Yeah.
Like I do misspeak a lot on the podcast, as Steven knows.
I feel like that's just a normal thing because I kind of do the same
Yeah.
thing sometimes too.
I feel like everyone has misspeaking moments, but I'd say I have it slightly more often. But it's not like a huge issue or anything. It's just kind of like sometimes I have to pause and like take a moment.
Yeah.
But still, it's light years better than how I was before. So,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't necessarily say it's a lisp. It's just more like a little impediment because it's just, again, I'm not going to go too far into it, but it's just basically like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That finished up all my questions for this interview. Next
Right,
time,
Will, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
And that's the end of the podcast.
And that's the end of the
episode.
episode. Shortest episode, shortest episode in our podcast history.
come
15
back
minutes
next
of just
for the next
just having
interview on Tom.
on what?
To whom it may
To
concern.
be honest, I forgot your name.
What?
Twin.
Not you, Will.
It's Twin C.
Joanne.
To whom it may concern.
We've known each other
Steve.
for several years. How
It's
did you forget
Steve,
my
I
name?
forgot his name. Or Steven.
Oh,
Steven is
Steven.
Steven.
Oh yeah, you don't have to remember my
Oh,
name.
I thought you
I'm,
were
I'm
calling
just
me
the
Tom.
I'm just the side
No.
character. I am not important enough to remember.
Next up, we'll have an interview with Steven.
Steven.
I'm also probably not
I almost-
interesting enough for an interview.
I almost called him Tom.
Tom.
I'll
You know what?
respond.
We're gonna change your name legally to Tom now, Steven.
No. Last time we did a name change, we changed the entire world's name to Steven.
Oh,
Now
yeah, I forgot
we're
about
gonna
that.
change all the people's names who are Steven to something else. There's nobody allowed to
To
be
Tom.
named Steven.
If your name's Steven, then you're gonna be under arrest. We're gonna arrest all Stevens.
Well,
Heck, I
the
might
FBI
have-
should be showing up any minute now.
We have about 5 more minutes left before Steven is taken away to federal prison for his crimes against names.
Against the naming police.
The naming police. And then you're gonna be arrested and you're gonna be like, yo, cop arresting you. It's like, all right, this is Officer Steven. We gone. Wait, what do you mean I'm under arrest too? All right.
Alright. I feel like I should save it for next time to interview on Steven on his life and such.
All right.
I will prepare some questions for you, Jess.
Okay, so
Yeah.
interview's done. Now I'm gonna move on to a.
The actual
I'm
topics.
gonna move on to.
The real meat
gonna
of the
move on to it.
episode.
I'm gonna move on to a debate question. That
Oh,
think
yes.
you,
thought you were
I
gonna
love
move on
debate.
to talk about Tennessee.
that me, Joanne, and Tom can all discuss.
This is just official.
Yeah, right
My
for
name
that?
is now Tom. They're not gonna call me anything else
Tom.
for the entire episode.
Alright.
This is the title of the episode.
So-
We changed Steven's name to Tom.
Steven gets arrested because of his name.
Yes.
His name is illegal. If you're no, I'm gonna make the title. If your name is Steven, you belong in prison for your crimes against the Federation. All right. So Tom and Joanne. This is a simple question. Y'all know doors and y'all know wheels, right?
Okay, this is already kind of weird. We're talking about two things that seem completely unrelated.
Let me ask you this. Hold on. By the way, if you hear me coughing, that's just because I got some dust in my system. I was cleaning the other day,
He
so
has
that's
he
why.
has COVID.
I promise I'm not terminally ill or have the COVID-19 or whatever the youngins call it.
They call it that because of the stupid censoring rules on some social media platforms.
All right. So doors and wheels. Which are there more of? Are there more doors in the world, or are there more wheels in the world?
This is such a
That's
dumb
an interesting question. Because what you have to think about, you have to think about things that have doors and things that have wheels
Yes.
and things that have both. Also, we have to consider what are we going to consider a wheel? Is it anything round that turns, or is it specifically something is designed to run on top of?
It's something. In this context, wheels is just a circular object that helps with transportation.
Okay, so
That's
specifically
the design and function of a wheel. And doors are going to be the rectangle objects that allow you to create a separation between two rooms. And it will have a handle that once you turn it, you can enter other part of the room.
I would say probably there's more wheels. I mean doors. More doors.
Or
I'm gonna have to say there's more wheels.
No. Listen,
Joanne, what did you put in the group chat DM thing?
let me just look at this real quick. Should we show this?
editing.
Should we show this?
Yeah, I'm gonna put a picture of it right now. This is what Joanne just sent. Oh no. No.
Doxed.
No.
Doxed.
Duh.
No.
His life is
That
coming
looks
crashing
I
down.
look so stupid in this. No,
His
why?
life is coming crashing down around him.
You need to save this photo for the 10th year anniversary to see how far back you went.
We're gonna show that one too. Don't worry.
Why are you saying that like you have control over it?
I have.
I'm gonna take over the editing.
Funny enough, I didn't know I had
have-
this photo in my hard
I
drive.
have control of all of my all the video editing here. If I want to, I could put a picture of Thanos on right now. What do you mean for now, Steven? What are you planning to do?
You don't know. Maybe I'm planning to take over the world.
You're gonna take my editing job?
Yeah.
You think you can do better than me?
No.
There's more
Okay, let's just
more
move on
content
to the
being
question.
sent. Yeah,
Let's just move on to the question.
we're just gonna ignore that. We're just gonna ignore that.
Okay.
All right, let's move.
So for the question of what are there more of, doors and wheels? So both of y'all say wheels, right?
No, I said doors.
No.
Oh, you said doors and Joanne said wheels.
I say doors. And I have very good
Before
reason
I
for
put-
saying doors.
Now that we have like a tie of like differing opinions, before I give my intake, I'm going to hear both of y'all's input for your answers.
Okay, so the reason that I say that there's more doors is you have to think about the main things that have doors are going to be buildings, right? And the main things that have wheels are going to be vehicles. And that can be any type of vehicle except for, like boats and stuff. Because even things like airplanes are going to have wheels on them. So everything, like obviously buildings have doors and they don't have any wheels because they're not used for transportation. But everything that has wheels, vehicles, so you can think of like, cars or road vehicles. You can think of like trains, track type vehicles. You can think of airplanes. Every single type of vehicle that has wheels is also going to have doors on it, right? And I
would like to point out.
I know
that
there are a few
18-wheelers
exceptions
out there.
I know there are a few exceptions, and I know that there are some vehicles that have a higher ratio of wheels to doors, but I feel like that's offset by the fact that there are buildings everywhere that have doors and no wheels. So it's the fact that the doors are more widespread than wheels across like things that they're on. That's why I say that I think there are more doors.
I say there's more wheels because of tools and such.
Tools?
Like a wagon.
Wait, what? Okay, yeah, that
Like
is
a
true.
trolley,
Wagons, like cars, aren't the only thing that have wheels.
I know.
We're only
They're
talking
just-
about like wagons and like there's also like carts that you can put tools on.
Yeah.
They're just one of the main things, I think. And I guess if you're counting like, small like caster wheels and stuff, like, maybe. But I still would say that I think that there are more doors.
And what about Hot Wheels? Those have all wheels, no doors.
Yeah.
They have doors.
But you can't open them.
So, you didn't say the door had to be openable.
No, that's literally what I said. The door has to have a handle that you can open. With Hot Wheels, they're just there for decorations, while the wheel is actually functional.
Barely.
But it works. Like if you want it to like ride and like transport like from one area to another, you can use the wheels. But if you want to get inside the Hot Wheel, you can't rely on the door because it's not functional.
I mean, even if the door was
knife.
functional, I'd love to see you try and get inside of a 1/64 scale car.
Exactly. So the wheels are functional on there, but the doors are not. So
Yeah, but that's
if you look at it from that. If you look at it like that, then there's a lot more wheels out there than you initially thought, right?
maybe a few more, but you also have to consider how much bigger the door population is than the wheel population. Like, even if you consider that, that's only a few types of things that, there's only so many of them out there. You have to think of how many buildings there are in the world and how many doors are in each one of those buildings. And then you have to think of how many doors are on...
Doors.
You have to think of how many doors are on all the vehicles and stuff. I mean, like, there's plenty of even boats and vehicles like that don't even have wheels that also have doors on them. So, like, if you're counting vehicles too, buildings, vehicles all have doors, and let me think. There's probably doors and other things too. And it also depends on what you specifically define as a door. Because what if you were to count like fences and stuff with gates and stuff like that? Maybe you could count those as doors. And then that would increase the number even further. So you see, it really could go either way.
What's your response to that, Joanne?
I was about to say there's also other modes of transportation other than a car, like bikes, scooters, rollerblades.
Yeah. But those,
what about rollerblades?
But those don't have as many wheels. And again,
but there's a lot more.
There's a lot more.
Again, it's the offset argument of how many
And
more of those would there be than buildings that have a bunch of doors in them? Because we're talking about in the entire world. We're talking about on the whole planet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of doors on the planet.
But there's also a lot of wheels.
Yeah, but I still think that the doors.
I love this.
Absolutely love despite this. Like you've given.
I'm playing like the middle. I'm trying my best to play the middleman, even though it sounds like I'm on the side of wheels. But I.
He's
but
no.
I tend to
It's
agree
not.
with
It's
Steven.
not. It's not that.
I actually agree with Steven.
It's not that he's on the side of wheels. It's the fact that he's trying to argue against me because that's his job on the podcast.
But I'm just trying to offer different perspectives. But overall, I would say I agree with Steven on this.
Because like you have to think of the like you do bring up some valid points about some of the things that have wheels. But even given that, even if we take that into consideration, I still think that the number of doors on things that don't have wheels is enough to offset and to be bigger than the number of things with wheels that don't have doors. And you have to consider that a lot of the things that do have wheels also have doors, whereas a lot of the things that do have doors don't have wheels.
I think Joanne is completely tuned out, and then he's just sending a bunch of memes in the group chat.
He is sending memes in the group chat right now.
Oh, that photo has a story. I got it from an old PSP. That photo was in the PSP, in the hard drive.
Which one? You sent two.
The SpongeBob one.
Okay, moving on.
All right.
There's more.
What is that? Why is there coleslaw in a stack of movies?
Okay, I want to point this out. I want to point this out because this is not even anything special. When I worked at Publix, I saw this literally every day. Just something where it wasn't supposed to be. That was not an uncommon thing at Publix. Like when you work at a grocery store, you will see things that are not where they're supposed to be.
Joanne, what kind of pictures do you have?
Or
Just
from
also.
an old PSP.
You do realize that the chat can't see these.
I know, and that's more work for you guys.
I don't think Will's
Yeah,
I don't think Will's gonna put these up.
I'm just gonna put like text, like just imagine some
pictures.
Imagine something. Just
Something.
Let your imagination go wild
just
as
imagine.
to what he's sending.
Just imagine. I mean,
Just
at that
use your
point, just don't watch the episode. Just imagine the episode.
Don't watch
Yes.
the episode. Just imagine.
Imagine.
Imagination.
Imagination. Get
Alright.
creative. Okay. So I think we are done with the doors and wheels
And we
argument.
have firmly decided that doors is the correct answer.
No, I have decided no answer for this.
Inconclusive. Let's go with that. We'll make the imaginary chat discuss it.
Yeah, put down in the comments what you think it is, chat.
And also, please watch our video so we can have a comment section.
Yeah,
I would
because
like that.
until now we really don't.
We have like 20 subscribers.
I need to start listen. What I need to realize is like I live on a college campus. There's like a few 100,000 people in this one area. I have a huge potential for advertising right here in front of me. I need to figure out how I can advertise this.
I don't think none of them will be interested in it.
I don't know, they might. It's literally a podcast where we just talk about the most random things. That's how you appeal to the largest group of people. Just talk about the most things.
Yeah. I try my best to title our episode something that has like a hook to it. It's like, oh, I might want to check that out.
How many are there in the world more of, doors or wheels?
No, I'm just gonna make the title. One of us gets arrested. Stay till the end to find out which one it is.
Another clickbait episode. You gotta make sure you put all caps in parentheses, not clickbait at the end.
I also remember the one episode we had where I titled it "Don't Take This Video Out of Context."
Yeah.
And that just based the type of people who like try to build like expose documents on whoever they don't like. And it's just like, ooh, more dirt on them. Let me just
Let me just take this particular sentence out of context.
you hear that typing sound, just like
He just There's more in the Discord. Oh, that's what Will typed.
Yeah.
I was creating that typing sound effect.
Well, let's go for a pronunciation here. He said, you 78. You're 6U7. 6U 75 chur 6U chur T on 7I8 Yuri a UD Yog tick
Watch him accidentally say a spoiler during all this. Accidentally just like
Are you the Swedish chef now?
the Swedish.
That's what he said. That's what the text that he sent was.
You know what? If Joanna's gonna start posting memes, I'm gonna do the same.
This podcast is that's just devolved into posting memes in the Discord thing that nobody can see.
For me, it's just putting up anything I found on my hard drive. And I have no idea what this here. I blame Yin. I blame Patrick for this.
He's gonna
The
end up.
audience doesn't even know who Patrick is.
He's gonna.
They don't know who he is.
He's gonna put up something NSFW and just be like, "Oh, sorry, it wasn't my fault. I didn't know what it was." I don't know, guys. What I don't know, chat. What do you think, chat? Do we end the episode right here? Leave it.
We can't keep doing this. We gotta stop.
Put it down in the comments below, chat. Do we end the episode right here?
They can't see them, Will.
I love how Joanne was the one who started this, and then we were the ones who said, "Oh yeah, chat can't see the memes," and now Will's the one doing it, and Joanne is like, "Will, remember, chat can't see the memes."
This episode has already taken a downward spiral. We might as well make it more of a spiral.
Yeah.
I'll just say I'll put like a screenshot of all the memes that have just been sent, and I'll just kind of like put maybe I'll make this the background.
This is a new level. We have reached a new low here on the podcast.
Let's get back so we don't go down any further.
What's the next topic on your list there, Will?
How's your business?
No, you know what? I know. I got it. I know how we can save this. We can bring this episode back on track by having our weekly Kanye segment.
What?
Oh yeah, Joanne, do you not know we have a Kanye segment on every episode?
Well, not really every episode anymore, but
yeah. If I have anything interesting to talk about with Kanye West, then I do it. But usually Steven likes to announce it without verifying that I actually have something.
Well, that's because we need filler.
I was about to ask.
The segment came from a joke that we made back in the beginning of the podcast, where we don't talk about politics on the podcast unless it's related to Kanye West, and then we can talk about it.
There was that one moment where he tried to run for president.
Wasn't he the guy who said the whole thing about like Adolf Hitler was just misunderstood?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Wasn't he the one who said that?
No, that was like years later. It was like he ran for president back in 2020, and then years later he went on to InfoWars, and it was like, basically to paraphrase, Hitler was just misunderstood.
Yeah, we talked about it on episode once, and yeah, that was kind of where the Kanye segment came from. Was basically we said no politics on the podcast unless it's about Kanye West, and then every week we started having a Kanye segment where we talked about random news that was going on with him, and then we kind of stopped doing it.
All I can say is it's reported that Kanye West is reportedly making some music and is gonna maybe drop an album soon.
He's gonna drop a new mixtape.
That's like all I know. That's like all I know.
That's the end of that segment.
And also, wait, one more thing I just realized. I remember he was in some sort of country, and he was wearing some sort of mask. Because Kanye loves to like wear different type of masks on his face, not just like mouth coverings, but like whole face coverings. And one of them he was wearing was labeled him as like a terroristic threat or something like that because it was like threatening looking. It was a while ago. I forgot all the details.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's all I'll say. Like I said, I wasn't prepared for this Kanye segment. Steven just kind of brought it up.
You're not supposed to be.
All right. Will,
All right.
Is there anything we would like to know about Tennessee that you're curious or anything?
I miss the football team.
The only thing I know about Tennessee on top of my head is that little, are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see.
I forgot forgot about that pickup line.
That's like one of the only things
That has gotta be
one of the only things I know.
that has gotta be one of the worst and best pickup lines I've ever heard.
Yeah, everyone knows it. It's just like one of those kind of generic.
I've never
like,
heard it. That is the first time I've ever heard that. That is
Yeah.
that is something else. That is definitely one of the pickup lines of all time.
One of the things to say of all time, honestly. Okay. So next topic. So
you
y'all know? Do y'all know the game Uno?
Oh yeah.
No, I actually have never heard of that. What's Uno?
Are you serious? If you're serious, Steven, I'll end the episode right now. I'll leave. I'll just go up and leave.
Will, look me in the eyes. Do you honestly think that I don't know what Uno is?
I don't know. You tell me. You tell me.
Well,
After you keep saying about all these different things that you don't know about, you don't know what Scooby-Doo is, you don't know what Valentine's Day is, you don't know
He
what...
doesn't know what Scooby Doo is, bro. What was your childhood?
Uno, stylized as all caps bold Uno, is a proprietary American shedding type card game originally developed in 1971 by Merle Robbins in
Hold on,
Reading,
what kind of word is
Ohio,
that,
as
proprietary?
a suburb of Cincinnati that housed International Games Incorporated, a gaming company acquired by Mattel on January 23, 1992. Played with a specially printed deck, the game is derived from the Crazy Eights family of card games, which in turn is based on the traditional German game of Mau Mau. That's what Wikipedia says.
Wait, you're not actually joking? You don't know Uno?
No, I know what Uno
Sorry,
is.
your Wikipedia reading was so boring it made me go to sleep.
I know what Uno is. I was trying to make it.
Have you heard of its sequel, Dos?
I wouldn't call Dos a sequel. But I have heard of it.
It's literally number 2 in Spanish.
I know,
How is it not a sequel?
but it's a different game, so I can't consider it a sequel to Uno. It's not Uno 2, it's just 2. Uno is called
Blair
1.
Witch Project 2 has nothing to do with the first movie, and yet it's called sequel. I know you know nothing about what I'm talking about.
No,
I'm
I
just
don't.
bringing that up for all my movie nerds out there who know what I'm talking about. But still.
Anyway,
Alright,
what about Uno? I know what Uno is. Jokes aside, what about Uno?
A phenomenon that I've known about people who play Uno is everyone who plays it seems to go by different rules, like different setups.
Oh, it took
than
you that
the next
long
person.
to notice
House
that?
rules, yeah. It's like it's the same deal with board games like Monopoly. Like you will never find two households that play Monopoly the same way. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The free
But
parking space, just free parking, does nothing.
Well,
What-
you
what's
get all of
funny
the money
about
from the
Uno,
middle of the
though-
board.
No.
What inspired me to talk about Uno, though, was about the whole +2 on +2 thing, where
Yeah.
the official rules apparently
Wasn't
say
it?
you can't
No,
stack.
wait, hold on. Are you about to talk about because I don't remember how long ago this was or if this was recent at all, but I thought I saw a meme on my YouTube recommended about Uno, like the actual company Uno making a Twitter post about.
Yes, I was going to talk about that.
I saw that on YouTube, just like a random post on YouTube as a meme of Uno making a Twitter post about, no, you cannot +2 on +2.
And then someone responds with, "Thank you for the game, but we'll take it from here."
Yeah.
Imagine, I just want you to imagine that. Imagine making a game with a set of rules, and then it gets so popular, and then at some point, people just kick you out of the conversation about how your own game is supposed to be played.
I mean, you don't really have to imagine it. It's kind of already happened.
But no, I'm talking about if you were to go through that.
Oh, well, I don't know. I made the game, and I mean, because you got to think about it this way. The reason why did they make the game in the first place? It's a product. This is a company that is making a product that they are selling. They're only trying to make money. As long as people are buying copies of their game, they're happy. They don't care what people.
Then why
do
did
with
they
it.
make that tweet about you can't stack 2+2 on +2 on
Because
+2? Why did they make that tweet to begin with?
Because one particular
I think they're
person
just
in the
joking
Uno
around.
social media department wanted to make a tweet about it.
I think they're just
I
joking
mean,
around.
that is kind of what happens.
But I'm
like, a lot
I'm
of
just talking
social
about like the
media.
company as a whole. Like the person who actually came up with the idea of the game is probably not alive anymore. So like he can't really.
Wow.
I said probably.
Wow.
You gotta think about how old the game is and how long ago. Actually,
Wow.
wait, no, it was on that Wikipedia article that I was just reading. When the game officially came out, it was developed in 1971. So theoretically,
That's not
theoretically,
too long ago. That's like 50 years ago.
theoretically,
It's possible.
Theoretically, the person could still be alive. Oh no, he's not. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. That
He's
settles
not.
that.
Yeah. So
He's dead.
he's dead. The end.
How long ago was it?
When did he die? He
Like, how long
died.
ago?
His
One,
life.
like-
Wikipedia puts his lifespan at September 12th, 1911 to January 14th, 1984. So
Okay, so-
he developed the game when he was pretty old. Because he was born in 1911, so he developed it in 1971.
Oh, wow.
So he was 60 years old at that point.
Wow. So seeing how it's been that long, I'm not necessarily gonna make fun of this death, but I am just gonna be like, the guy who made Uno died.
The guy who made Uno died. That's gonna be the episode. The title of the episode. The guy who made Uno is dead now.
That still feels disrespectful, even though it is like a long time ago.
I mean,
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like people like to make fun of like Lincoln, like Abraham Lincoln and his assassination.
okay. Abraham Lincoln
And
is
it's one of those
different
things where it's
because
like,
Abraham Lincoln is different because he was assassinated. That's different. Someone who just died
Right.
naturally because they were old, that's less of a. I mean, I still
I'm
would.
talking about like the time difference. I'm talking about like the time difference of just
Yeah.
how long is like long enough. You know
Well,
what I mean?
also the guy who made Uno also wasn't the president, so you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'd be like coming after some guy for no reason. But basically, I just want to talk about this because it's just like goes to show, like, and Steven makes a good point about how a lot of other board games are like that too. It's just all about house rules, and it's just like
Yeah.
you think in conception, like making a board game, that it'd be easy to like adhere to the rules.
I mean, it's
that they
not.
lay
No,
out, but, like,
it's not that it's not easy to adhere to the rules. Here's the thing: the reason that house rules are created is because board games are, board games. They're games that are played with physical materials, and it's not like a video game where the game is written and programmed in a very specific way to do a very specific set of things. It's physical things, like physical objects that you are handling, and you can do whatever you want with them. So basically what it is like, somebody buys the game and they're like, I don't really particularly agree with this rule, or I think that this other rule should be part of the game. With video games, you can't really do that because you're not the developer and you don't have access to the code. But with a board game, you can change the rules to be how you want them because, you have the game, and it's just like... You probably get what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. That when you phrase it like that does actually kind of make sense.
Because if you think about, I know you're not much of a gamer, Will, but if you think about playing a video game, like, have you ever played a video game where you thought like a particular part of the game was like, oh, I really wish that this was like different, or that this worked differently, or something like that? Like, if people could change video games to be how they wanted them to, they would. And that's like, for video games that support mods, that's exactly what mods are. You can think of mods in video games as being the same thing as house rules, and conversely, you can think of house rules in board games being the same thing as mods in video games. It's people changing the game to be basically something that they want it to be.
That actually is a good point. Didn't really think about it like that. So thank you for that enlightenment, Steven. Oh, no, sorry. Thank you for that enlightenment, Tom.
I don't even get
chase
to,
him out.
I don't even get to be named correctly when credited for the explanation.
Just goes to some guy named Tom.
There's gonna be a Tom way down the line who he's gonna be like, oh yeah, that one episode of the To Whom It May Concern podcast, they credited me for giving an explanation of why house rules are.
You wanna know what's funny? Actually, you wanna know what's funny? Back to me being part of a film team and for Jacksonville State University football. There is a guy who films whose name is Tom, like Thomas.
He's gonna end up watching the podcast and he's gonna be like, "It's me."
It's me. Hey Thomas, if you're watching this, what's up? How you doing?
What's
Help me
down?
find a job.
Thomas, if you're watching this, what are you doing with your life?
Don't say that.
I mean,
you're gonna make it sound like you're insulting him.
No, it's more of a our podcast is not worth spending your time on. Like, if you're watching our
I'm
podcast,
trying to gain viewers here. I'm trying to gain subscribers.
I'm saying if you're watching our podcast, do you not have anything better to do with your time right now?
Maybe I feel like we'd be
saying
like
the proof.
I feel like we'd be very terrible businessmen, like trying to sell a product. I feel like we.
This product is
advertisement.
terrible.
And like trying to convince people to watch our content. We're just like, you don't have to.
You don't have to. It's not really worth it.
Okay. All right. So this last topic, I'm gonna give y'all kind of a scenario, and this is gonna be kind of self-promotion for me because I'm gonna be making a movie this year, this college year, and I'm gonna ask y'all a question, and I'm gonna have y'all kind of discuss it.
Let's pause and discuss.
Actually, not even much of a question, it's more like a scenario. I'm gonna paint a scenario for y'all, and I'm gonna have y'all discuss what you would do in that case, or how you would feel. Okay, so here's the scenario. You're like 40 years old, like 30, 40. You're down on your luck. You have nothing else to live for, and you decide one day that you're just gonna kill someone because your life's going nowhere. You might as well just do something.
Isn't that how people end up killing themselves? Because usually in that scenario,
let's not worry about that.
Usually in that scenario, the person I'm sorry. I know it's sad,
They hold a grudge against the world and decide to take it out on the world instead of themselves.
Okay.
Okay. So
here's what
the Joker.
No, they decided to just become a murderer
for no reason.
Just say, well.
Is this how shooters are created?
Have to change your movie idea.
Listen,
okay.
Is this how shooters are created? They just reach a low point in their life and they're like, I kind of just need to take my my anger out on someone. I'm just gonna go and shoot somebody for no reason.
That's kind of how it works.
Is that literally how it works?
I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying that's how it works with everyone, but there are some that are like that. But that's besides the point. Listen,
that's crazy.
Okay, so just pretend that there's a better reason. My movie's still in conception stage.
I feel like there's never a good reason to just go kill somebody.
Listen. So, and like, keep in mind what you said too. There's never a good reason to kill someone. Keep that in mind for this kind of debate kind of thing. So, you go out and you kill someone, and then you go home and you realize that the person you killed at random was a wanted criminal. And not only was he a wanted criminal, he was the most dangerous criminal in the entire world. And he was responsible for a lot of crime going on. But now that he's dead, a lot of it's not happening anymore. How would you feel about that?
I would say, like,
do you not experience any emotional trauma after killing a guy? Like, it's your first time killing a person. You must felt something.
Well, yeah.
You can't go off like, I did something good in the world. You just killed the dude.
Yeah, well, see,
Exactly.
that's what I was gonna say. Is like, even if the person that you killed is like someone who probably deserved it, that's kind of besides the point, in my opinion. Because I'm gonna try my best to stay non-political here, but just talk about straight morals. But basically,
Murder is murder.
basically what it is the person that you were going to kill, regardless of whether they were a wanted criminal or not, you didn't know that they were a wanted criminal, and the fact that they were a wanted criminal was not the reason that you were going to kill someone. It's about the intention, not about the result. Even if your action
Right.
resulted in something that was not necessarily as bad as it could have been, your intention was still to just go kill a random person. There's, even if that person ended up being someone who probably deserved it, it could have not been. It could have been someone who didn't deserve it. It could have been an innocent person, because you weren't seeking out that person specifically. You were going and killing someone at random. It's the intention,
Right.
not the result. The fact that you intended to
but
kill
the thing
someone
is,
is what
though,
makes it wrong.
But here's another scenario. Let's say you do that, and you know in your heart that you did something bad, right? Like you did
Yeah.
something unforgivable. However, people found out about the fact that you were the one who took down that dangerous criminal, and they think that you did it out of good faith, and they treat you like a hero for that. How would you feel in that in that situation, though? Would you? Like, I imagine you'd feel the same, but like with
Yeah,
that
you'd feel
added
the
layer of people
I
thinking that
would
you
go
did this
to
for a good
therapy.
reason,
If
for people thinking that you did this for a good reason,
if he,
would you confess about why you did it, or would you kind of keep it at like a
if you were an
would you
honest,
keep your true intentions?
if you were an honest person, and I know that not a lot of the world is nowadays, but if you were an honest person, the right thing to do would be to confess, like, I didn't know that guy was a wanted criminal. I was just going to kill someone for, X reason that you stated earlier. And
Yes,
basically
just
say, like,
say that
it
to
just kind
Troy.
of turned out to be that he was that guy. The honest and correct thing to do would
He
be
was
to
that guy.
basically admit,
He was that guy.
basically
it was him.
basically confess to the fact that, like, it wasn't necessarily your intention. Now, if this happened in the real world, like if this were a real world scenario, the average person is probably going to, like, accept all of the people thinking that they went and did it for intentionally, because it's going to be a way for them to get out of the fact that they killed someone. And probably, depending on the kind of person you are, it might, like, change your morals. You might think, like, oh, the guy I killed was a wanted criminal, it's not that bad. But for me personally, being the kind of person that I am, I would be like, oh, I still went and killed somebody, doesn't matter who it was. And in that situation, I would probably come out and be like, hey, it wasn't exactly my intention to go and do that.
Right. All right. So that's my kind of movie scenario, and this is probably the worst press of it because it kind of puts into perspective how little fleshed out of this idea I actually have it.
The
But
whole
I
premise of the
promise you-
movie is just you kill someone and they turn out to be a wanted criminal.
But I'm not saying in the movie. I'm not going to say that what he did was right. Right. I'm just kind of using that as like a way of saying, like, if you do something bad and it results in good, like, there's a lot of ways you could look at it from that
Yeah.
angle, and it's just kind of
Like I
exploring
said,
that.
like I said.
It's not necessarily going to take a side. Like, the side would obviously be that he still did a bad thing. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring you all this scenario and just kind of introduce it. Later on, I'll have another episode where I talk about it more in depth as I like kind of get more the story more fleshed out, because I got like a lot of story drafts with it.
You might need to do a redraft. I would suggest you go back to that book that you used to draw all your pictures and try to come up with a story from that.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring you out like the raw scenario of this whole
It's
thing.
definitely a very interesting scenario. It's definitely one
and
that
once-
I don't
once
think
again-
I've seen before.
And I just want to just say for the record, I'm not condoning like violence or anything like that.
Of
or like
course,
murder.
Yeah. Oh,
But
Joan
yeah,
left.
but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end this. Joanne just left; his internet went down, and yeah. So that's about end for our episode today. And as always,
We're gonna come back next. We skipped last week because Will didn't like the episode.
Oh,
we
yeah.
came back this week. We thought that this was gonna be a banger, and then we ended up talking
and it
about.
turns out to be a banger.
No, we ended up talking
Anyway.
about murder and having an interview. So we're gonna come back next week with the real banger, the one that's really gonna get everyone's wheels turning. You know.
Yeah.
No pun intended,
All
since we had a discussion about wheels earlier in this one.
All right. And as always, please like and subscribe
For another episode
for another
of...
episode of To Whom It May Concern.